Batman.
Are you eating an apple?
I had to finish my daughter's part of her apple because
Oh.
she was about to leave it in my bed. All right,
Mike.
Dave, ready?
Hold your tongue and say apple.
We're live on YouTube, Dave. Let's get going.
I don't care. This is our fucking show.
Should just start recording.
Oh, Shenandoah.
All right, Dave, are you ready?
Yep.
I long to see you.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Hunt, running for chairman of your local school board. As always, we have Mike Gonsalves, fresh back from Pi Pi's Water Park. Sam Alexander reminding you that he is currently 3-0 with Timothy Treadwell. Vince H. rolling with the punches, and I'm Dave Packard, who is living on the hopes of second chances. Tonight we're talking about
Water Park.
You
Sorry,
shut
go ahead.
up. We're talking about canned fishing trips, Jellystone, and super awesome, totally not over-exaggerated, completely stock vehicles.
Wait, whose PP is running for school board?
No, it's PP's Water Park.
Whoa!
He's also running for
Show title is PP for showboard.
PP for school board.
PP for president.
School
Yeah.
board felt actually more inappropriate, so I'll take that.
Vote for PP.
It's a P.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Starting off great, guys.
All right, so for
Maybe
those who
we
don't
should
know,
start over.
for those who do know,
Nobody knows.
we went to Waterworld this weekend,
The trouble
and
I've
the
seen.
Oh,
South
God.
Park episode that PP's Water Park is based on, it's based on Waterworld. Like everything in PP's Water Park. The lazy
Too
river's
many
never been lazier.
minorities.
Dude, we went to the lazy river, and I could not stop thinking that song in my head. We went around it 3 times, and it was on repeat.
Did you go through the journey of the center of the earth?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's the only reason to go to that place.
Is that the
Ella-
episode where like the P, like
Not with the
Yes.
first graders, and there's 2 of them that have to do with pools and pee. It's not the first graders peeing. It's where like the pee overwhelms the whole water park, and
Like it overwhelms the delicate pee water balance of the water. It could only be 97% pee.
that was
in the
very
water.
near
And
where
as
I
soon as it
quit
became
watching.
100% pee, then the water park exploded and there were mass fatalities. It was hilarious. Oh, and Kyle had to drink pee, and then
Yep.
and then they rescue him because he didn't have to do it anyway. Yeah, it was a good time.
In a couple of years. Journey to the Center of the Earth is like a themed ride where there's animatronic dinosaurs, and it's way too cool to be in Denver or to be at
Yeah.
that random ass water park.
Yeah, we got the discount tickets with going as a group with Chicken Store. So
Isn't that movie with Will Ferrell?
Yeah, basically.
yeah,
It's like the entire movie condensed down to a 10-minute ride.
basically.
It scared the absolute bejesus out of me when I was a kid.
Will Ferrell and Danny McBride.
Yeah, well, Will Ferrell scares the crap out of me still, so.
I would say he scares me if
I've been drinking
but-
green tea all day. Never mind.
Coming for you, Pepe Le bitch.
Yeah, when I was roughly the age of 17, whenever that damn movie came out, I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And my dad was like, This is so fucking stupid. And in hindsight, I think he was the one that was right, not me. Same with fucking Tropic Thunder, although Tropic Thunder is funnier than Talladega Nights.
No,
Tropic
Tropic
Thunder
Thunder
was
is
one-
timeless.
Well, I said Tropic Thunder is, but yeah. I got my dad good that Christmas when Tropic Thunder came out because I printed out the case cover and then slipped it inside of a DVD that I'd bought him for, you fucking Zoomers out there. DVDs were cool back then. And for a brief moment, he thought I had actually bought him Tropic Thunder on DVD.
If anyone listening to this, if you have never watched Tropic Thunder with the cast commentary turned on, go do that right now. Stop watching this. Go do it. Stop listening.
I
Go
watched
watch
a lot
Tropic
of
Thunder
movies.
with the cast commentary on by Mike.
He just had like a fucking seizure.
I don't
That's
even know that
just
movie.
the 40s hitting him.
It's Jack
I was,
Black.
I was leaving to go watch Tropic Thunder right now.
It's
with the
Jack
cast
Black,
commentary.
Ben Stiller, and Robert Downey Jr. in character as Sergeant Lincoln Osiris. It's fantastic.
My wife
The
loves
amount of
commentaries. We should do
memes.
this.
And one-liners that have come out of Tropic Thunder. Countless.
It's a gem.
Dude, any Ben Stiller movie, to be fair. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
No, you're a Zoolander guy.
I'm really not. I don't
just
like
models.
Zoolander. Zoolander annoys me.
In surprisingly deep movies, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I was actually really impressed by.
Interesting.
I think the screenplay is actually by Ben Stiller and someone else. It's one of his pet projects that made it to the big screen.
Cool. Good for him.
Fascinating.
Anyway,
That's
Anyway.
good. Let's go filming.
Mm-hmm. So, what's this about fishing for sardine cans in the ocean? Like, personally, I love sardines. I have
well,
nothing
you see,
against
there was a little
sardines.
town called Swallow Falls.
Is this like
Oh,
the
Mike's
Chew and
mom's
Swallow
from there.
the book?
This show is starting to go south.
Okay, well,
Stupid.
I was actually going with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but unfortunately, the town is
That's-
actually called Swallow Falls. So
That's where my no, the town's called Chew and Swallow
No, it's. Oh yeah, you're right. It
in
is
the book
Jones.
anyway. That's where I was
Well-
going with that, and then Dave just Dave won.
I was going to make a sardine joke, and then I did anyway, and it got over.
You're Portuguese.
Overwhelmed
You
it.
people love sardines.
Anyway.
Do we?
Yeah, Portugal is like one of the largest producers of sardines in the world. I think it's massively downscaled to how it used to be, but
are sardines the national vegetable?
kind of actually, yeah.
I did not know
Condiment.
that, and I question why you know that.
Because I have this. Actually, I'm not the only person. I shouldn't say it's a strange habit. I am one of the people who has a habit of when I eat something, I start looking up videos about it so I can watch what I'm eating. Yeah. You should try it sometime. It's fun.
So what do you do when you're eating lasagna?
Good
Well,
God, you scan the QR code on the back of food labels, don't you?
No, I'm just sitting down eating, snacking on sardines. I got curious about how these sardines got in the can, so I just was googling sardine not manufacturing, but sardine fisheries on YouTube, and it came up with a bunch of stuff on things in Portugal.
This long cartoon about sardines going off to war, packing themselves into like airplanes, and then it's just a can.
The Discovery Channel has contracted with all of the food companies to put QR codes on the back of every food product, and when you scan it, a little episode of how it's made pops up and shows you how it's made.
Okay. I love how it's made and unwrapped.
Yeah, agreed.
I
These
wasn't
people have
making
no
fun of
culture.
Fantastic.
I wasn't making fun of how it's made.
The Victoria's
I
Secret
know.
edition.
I'm just. You said
All
that.
right.
and
I would
then
like
it
to-
made me
No,
reminisce.
follow
Anyway,
falls.
I caught you, Vince.
Please tell us about Mike's mom.
Well, see, there I was with Mike's mom.
I know Mike's mom. She would deny this.
No, okay, I'll just launch into it. So the long-awaited fishing expedition down to Lake Texoma finally took place. It was delayed twice for terrible Texas weather. Once being very cold, and the other time a bunch of tornadoes. But we finally made it down there. There's a striper and catfish guide that my dad is co-workers with, who does the whole guiding thing on the weekends and such during the prime season. And we went out with him once before. It was 2014, the day my brother and I both graduated from college, which also happened to be my dad's birthday. We all went out fishing, which was actually that first time was not too great because there was record low water levels on Lake Texoma, like
ooh.
I don't know, like 20 feet below normal. It was ridiculously low, to the point where we didn't catch a whole lot. I'm not sure if I caught anything actually. I think on that trip, the only thing I caught was something that someone else hooked and then handed to me so I could reel it in. Like nothing hit my line that we were working on. But there was also differences. So we got. I'll go back to the present and I'll compare a little bit. So we got there at 6 a.m, kind of pretty early, which was a nice little drive for me. But and we kind of got right out on the water. It was me, my dad, brother, and my oldest son and my brother's oldest son, who were 9 and 7. And we get out there on the water, and our first little bit is basically a 20-minute boat ride at about 40 miles an hour out into the middle of this lake, which we could have gone on further and further and further. Actually, I didn't look up the square mileage of the lake. Yeah, that might be interesting. I'll look that up in a second. It was out on Lake Texoma.
89,000 acres.
89,000 acres. How many square miles is that? It's a big lake.
By 640.
640. Okay.
I don't even.
Like 130 some odd square miles. Is that right?
139.
No. Okay.
0.025 if you want to get technical.
Oh, okay. Lake Texoma lies on the border between Oklahoma and Texas, and is made by the damming of the Red River, and it backs up into the Washita arm of the lake and the Red River arm of the lake. Anyway, we got out there on the lake about 6 a.m, took a nice little boat trip out there. Fun little occurrence. My son had all of his rain gear. He just threw it in a Walmart bag with a box of Kleenex, and he tossed that up in front of the boat. And we're about a quarter mile out, and suddenly something swings by our faces. I'm like, what was that? And luckily, his raincoat fell out of it, and the only thing left in it was a box of Kleenex. And so my brother grabbed the raincoat. He's like, what is this? I'm like, that's caissons. Of course, I'm yelling it because we're going like 50 miles an hour. And, Ronnie turns around and he looks at me like, do we need, kind of signals? Do we need to stop? I'm like, no, just keep going. Just leave the freaking bag and Kleenex. It's dead anyway. But anyway, we get out to a spot, and we finally cut engine. And, when we're fishing for striper this time, I think I should probably specify that, because we could be fishing for striper or catfish depending on what's biting at what time of the year. Mm-hmm. Like back in October when we were supposed to go, it was supposed to be catfish, and during the spring it's striper. So we get out there and we're fishing with live bait. They went out and caught bait, kind of early in the morning, and we're using little 2 to 3 inch shad.
I was about to say, usually live bait with those, because I was doing a little bit of research, I think it was yesterday. The world record striper was like 80-something pounds, and they caught it with a live eel.
Ooh, yeah.
Interesting.
So so back in 2014 when we went, they weren't doing live bait. It's like all of the guides out there were doing trolling. Like okay. they would have the lures, and they'd have 5 or 6 lures on a jig, and you would have really heavy really heavy tackle out there, and you would let out about 100 to 120 feet of line, and you would troll through there and wait for something to hit. But the way they were doing it this time, we got out there to this one spot, and of course he's on the radio with the other guide buddies, like talking about what they're doing and what everyone's having luck with and where they're having the luck. And we get out at this one spot, and we're in about 20 feet of water, because I'm looking at the depth finder the whole time. And he's like, well, okay, so we're on a ridge. And this is where we finished up yesterday with a client. We were hitting big 5 to 8 pounders. And there's 40 feet on either side of this ridge where it drops down to about 40 feet. And we're sitting on 20. So maybe we'll get something here. And of course, they turn on the, your trolling motor to just splash on the surface, because it's supposed to generate a more predatory response from the fish. So we get out there and we get sitting around, and we sit for about 15, 20 minutes, and we don't get any hits of anything. And he's like, okay, well, forget this. So we zoom back over to another point. We're sitting at about 30 feet of water, and he hooks on with a couple of guide buddies of his who we saw at the marina, and they're anchored in about 30 feet of water, and we let down to about 20 feet. And so this is the part where we get to thinking that we're going to be into some really heavy striper, because after about 4 or 5 minutes, they're not having any luck, which was kind of weird, because one of the guide's son, who's sitting up there with my nephew, is actually the first one who lands a fish, and he immediately hands it to my nephew because it's the first fish on, and he hands it over, and that ended up being the biggest fish of the day. The 7-year-old caught turned out to be about an 8-pound striper.
Nice.
Which an 8 pounds, he needed help. An 8-pound striper is a bit of fighting a fish, because while we were sitting there, the next one to hit one was my brother, who caught about a 6 or 6.5 pounder, and it's pulling out drag, and so last time we had been using pretty heavy tackle. This time we're using not the heaviest. It's, maybe 20-pound test and a medium heavy rod setup, because we're just using, live bait, and it's got a depth counter. So you got live bait and depth counter, and that's how you're figuring out, kind of like, okay, where are they in the water column? Let down to this depth in the water column and see if they come up and hit it. So we're sitting there behind these guys, and what's weird is we're hooked on to 2 other guides who have all their clients in there, and they're not getting any hits. But we've got a couple of big fish in the cooler already, and then my son hooks onto one. He ends up pulling about a 4-pounder out, which he was pretty happy about. And then right after that, like, bam, I get a hit. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is actually pulling. Like, it's pulling drag hard. I ended up pulling about a 5.5-pounder out at that point in about 30 feet of water. And it was actually a pretty nice fight. Like those things will actually take it and go. But they were what
I was just saying, I can't remember the exact number, but that world record one fought for like almost an hour, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with 20-pound test on medium heavy 7-foot rods, and it's a standard bait cast reel with a depth counter on it. So
real quick, Vince.
Yeah.
Can you explain what drag is?
What drag?
For those that don't know.
It's June. So
just click on the little eyeball. Click on the little eyeball icon on YouTube, and I'll tell you all about it.
So the OG drag is when you have a rod and reel and you're out there fishing, and the javelin, striped bass, striper. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Just when the fish starts pulling on it, and it actually has the ability to pull line out of the reel. And then you can adjust the drag, so the harder you adjust it, the harder it is to pull out of the reel, so it gives more resistance. But if you tighten the drag too much, the fish can actually generate a greater amount of force than its own weight, so it'll snap the line.
Perfect.
So
if you forget to reset your drag when you try and cast, it doesn't get you very far.
Nope. But so yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, it fought for a little bit. It was a pretty good fight. 5.5-pound fish, and get it netted up, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. We're in for it today. We got the spot, and we're gonna pull a bunch of these in.
What was your limit if you haven't already set it?
I don't know.
Oh, perfect.
Not that I don't remember, But I have a guide, see, so that's not my
Oh
problem.
yeah, totally. I know, like totally. You have a guide. That's the guide's problem at that point. You're not there to count fish. You're just there
My-
to catch
my
fish. and they'll tell you when
problem-
to stop.
My problem was figuring out what's in the bottle of Coke that my dad handed me.
That's a
It's
problem.
bottle.
I'm like, Dad, it's 6 a.m.
What is this white powder?
Well,
It's
now
Coca-Cola.
You've got energy for the fight now.
Oh,
You want to
speaking
sit
of
there and ask question, or are you gonna fish?
speaking of white powder, if you have never actually sat down and thought about it, cocaine and chocolate come from the same plant.
Okay,
I have
Pablo.
also watched Discovery Channel.
Okay,
But
Papa.
some have not. Some
What?
don't
Like-
understand that Discovery Channel
Well, they're
exists.
wrong.
I
Mike
know.
watched a little bit of Narco season 1. He's like, "Yep, I know a lot about cocaine now, buds." Mhm.
No, I literally sat down and I was like, wait, cocaine comes from cocoa plant. Chocolate comes from cocoa plant.
So
Oh no.
now he's going through the Walmart aisle, looking at the freaking bottles of, or in the baking aisle, the little jars of cocoa powder. Going, now how do I turn this?
This cocaine
if I
is
bleach
90%
this-
cacao.
Anyway, go ahead.
That's that extra dark.
Oh, it's not just brown. It's brown.
Okay.
What can brown do
so
for you?
Fish.
Fishing. Back to fishing.
So when those bundles of cocaine fell out of the sky, the fish were really active that day in the lake.
Cocaine fish.
Cocaine piranhas.
Oh no. No.
That's
No,
the
that's
sequel
the
to
alligator
Sharknado.
garb.
Okay.
Piranado.
Okay. Anyway, Vince.
Cocaine piranado.
So we started to think that we're going to get into like a whole mess of these 5 to 8 pounders because, okay, they fight really nice. It's actually a nice fight. They'll bend that rod over all the way and make you feel like you got a monster on there. But after I reeled mine in, the only thing we reeled out of that spot was like my dad pulled in a 1.5 pound catfish because catfish will bite on the shad, the live shad swimming around down there on your hook. The catfish will go get it. But after that was all we hit at that spot. So after a little bit, we go start searching around trying to find a spot where maybe something's hitting, and he's on the phone with all of the guides in the area because okay, here's the other annoying thing. Like I have crappy cell service at my house up in Oklahoma. I have 5G sitting in the middle of Lake Texoma.
Yeah, you're on a lake. It's flat. No interference.
I'm annoyed. Like I could watch YouTube out here. I don't like that.
That is, yeah, I would agree with you there. As well, it's
10
like,
years ago, they were using radios.
it's like being up in Yellowstone. There's no cell service in Yellowstone unless you're in like 3 specific spots. So it's fantastic.
Though FRS on Lake Texoma will carry for miles.
Yeah.
Like just the civilian bands, like they work just fine, but they switched to cell phones because no one needs the radios anymore.
phone line site.
But I was listening to the guy talking about it, and they seemed like nothing was really biting that day on the lake. So we kind of move around a couple of times. We try over against the bluffs along the south side of the lake, and then we zoom over to the north side along the Oklahoma side in about 20 feet of water. And it was actually there. The only thing that we caught there, at some point my dad pulls in another catfish. I don't know why he was catching catfish, but it was just him. But in about 20 feet of water, I pulled in another about 4.5 pound striper, which once again fought pretty good, which was kind of nice. But we end up kind of working our way back towards the marina on the big mineral arm. And we spent probably 3.5 hours searching around on the main body of the lake. And then another 2.5 just in the big mineral arm where we spent the whole time drifting across this one point where it would drift from about 29 feet of water to about 12 feet. But as we drifted across the point, there was 2.5 to about 2 to 2.5 pound striper hitting across that point, and we kept just kind of drifting over there and pulling in what we could off of that. And my dad was talking to Ronnie, and he was saying that last year, 17 of the 19 weekends that he was out, they never left that arm of the lake, and they caught striper all day long. So the area is not bad. It's just right now the lake is really high, and apparently when the lake is really high, fishing can be really inconsistent because the fish, I don't know exactly what it does other than the lake will muddy up as water rushes in, and the fish, if the mud comes in, the fish move out. And if it's not consistent, the fish aren't predictable. So we kind of found a little spot where we were catching mid-sized fish pretty well, and we kind of sat there for the rest of the day, just drifting across that little jut out of land and catching what we could right there. We were catching, 2.5 pound striper, maybe 2 pound striper. I caught one white bass, like one sand bass, sitting right there. There was actually about a pound and a half, 2 pounds. Nice little fish. Basically just sitting there in the boat with the rod in the water, paying attention to, depth and where the fish were. You know what was annoying? The kids learned how to read the freaking fish finder in like 2 minutes. And I was looking at the damn thing and like, I just see freaking squiggles. What do you mean there's a fish right there? And my 9-year-old's like, there's a fish right there. I'm like, shh.
These little bastards can look at technology and be like, oh, I know how this works now. Good luck, Dad.
Y'all sound so old.
I was looking at it like, how are you reading this? And I mean, Rodney can read it, and that's fine. And his son can read it, and that's cool too. His son's like 15 or something. But now my son was like, Dad, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go work on a boat, fishing in the lake, because
Some damn video games.
See that was the fun part. Rodney's 15-year-old son was working as a deckhand with us, which basically means he fishes and baits hooks and does other things around the boat. But the thing he did the most that day was play with the kids up at the front of the boat. I have no idea like half of what went on up there because they were just kind of doing whatever they wanted. I mean, at some point, someone ended up with a live shad stuffed down their overalls. That would be Rodney.
No big deal.
That's an interesting place to stuff a shad.
Well, where else are you gonna stuff it?
No, his kid was
Mike's.
like, his kid convinced my nephew to go shove a shad down the guide's pants. Like, I look up and he's doing a dance. Like, what's going on? Like,
There's a fish in my pants.
It attracts the fish. See, look, I
Mike
got one of my
puts-
pants.
like
Mike puts shad in his south mouth.
You're fucking weird. Jesus.
So, how many fish did you catch overall? Like,
I think
like
we
whole fishing
caught-
party.
I think we caught 22 fish.
Nice.
And several of them were very big. If you look on our Instagram, I posted a picture of us holding the biggest fish that we had there.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, my dad, who paid for the whole thing, didn't catch anything real big.
That works.
But the best part was the youngest caught the biggest fish. He's standing there and he's like really happy about it. But we caught a few mid-sized fish, and then so apparently our deckhand was working on about 2 hours of sleep because after they went and caught bait that night, they realized the sand bass were moving on the marina, and sat there until about 3 in the morning, I think, fishing for sand bass on the dock. And then he got about an hour and a half of sleep and got up and had to go catch bait again. So, yeah, they gave us the meat from those fish too. So that was cool. But
Next thing we know, you're gonna be freeze drying fish. I'm like, look at my fish snacks.
It'd be like nutrient survival.
You should try make. Well, do you have a dehydrator?
I do have a dehydrator.
I've got a
yes.
couple old pieces of fish. I need to try making fish jerky. I've had it once. It was so nasty. I actually want to see if it's still as nasty as I thought it was.
It,
Ugh,
dude.
that sounds bad.
It was bad. But that's one of those things where it was so bad. I'm like, was it really that bad? Now I'm curious again.
Yeah. This Saturday they're having a fish fry down there, and I'm thinking about going.
Mm.
Yeah. Sounds good. But
That-
we haven't gotten any of the fish that we brought back home. It was a decent amount of fish we brought back. You know, it was better than 10 years ago we didn't catch a whole lot, and the the cost of the trip kind of reflected that. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. The lake's up, lake's down. We actually have a trip planned, not planned quite yet. Like my dad said, he's gonna get it scheduled, and we're gonna go out at the end of July, I think, looking for catfish.
Nice.
See what we can bring in there. But I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. With the same guide, it's Hooked on Rods guide service in Lake Texoma, and we had a pretty good time. All the guides seem to work together pretty well there.
That's reassuring in a way. You hear
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, maybe it's different with fishing guides than it is with hunting guides, but like talking to our guide down in Texas on the crane hunt, hearing all the stuff that some of the smaller, like lesser known or less established guide services will try and do to screw over the bigger ones to try and muscle in on them. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, the thing about it is, if the fish aren't biting, the fish aren't biting. It kind of doesn't really.
And that's true, yeah, with more with fish than,
And
trying
if
to-
the
and these-
fish are biting over here, like freaking bring your people over here, and you'll catch some fish. Because
Yeah.
it's an entire industry.
It,
It's
yeah, and
not
it's a little
just-
less. You're not going to necessarily scare the fish off, versus doing what they do down there. Like they was talking to the guy, and they were catching another guide for another outfitter trying to scare geese off of a field that they were leased out, trying to push them elsewhere. It's like, wow,
Well,
That's pretty
you can scare fish off.
you can, but then,
Like if you come in too hard on a spot, you can very much scare the fish off of a like a point or something.
you throw one of those 9-year-olds overboard, that'll scare 'em.
Yeah, there was a reason they were the only ones wearing life jackets.
Yeah. Javelin Fangs in the chat says he's seen a lot of fishing guides working together down in Florida where he's at too. So maybe it's a difference
Yeah.
between anglers and hunters. Maybe anglers are more willing to share their sweet spots versus you ask a hunter, "Hey, where's your honey hole?" And they'll just try and stab you.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
never
that's there's a lot of fish in the sea
Or in Lake Texoma.
and Lake Texoma.
That's what they said about dating, and I was never good at fishing.
Wah, wah, wah,
Yeah, where's that sound button?
I got my hands full right now with
Oh.
infant, so.
Oh,
So while I'm thinking about it, you're talking about, so on the topic of fish, did you guys see, I pulled up the article, but I don't have a hands free to do it, but they got another guy down in Louisiana here, I think it was last month, trying to cheat on a fishing tournament by stuffing weights in his bass.
he didn't learn.
Apparently, no, he didn't learn
From
from those
the
other
last
two
guys?
guys who got so heavily publicized. Let's see
What
here.
makes you think you can actually get away with that?
I
Don't they
don't
X-ray
know.
the fish?
So the article is from May 24th. So yeah, it was last month. Well, they don't X-ray them. They waited. I guess the fishing tournament guys. It was why they do it is this contest had $100,000 prize package, including a boat and a truck. So somebody just got a little too like, this'll work. He allegedly, they found 2.59 pounds of weights in the fish.
Oh my god!
Jesus.
Like, I mean, again, I think we talked about this with the last pair of them because we were talking about, man, how do you even kind of start down that road and talk about like the pressures of sponsorships where
It's
you
like
probably
someone
start
saying,
off- Go.
like, Yeah, my driver's license says I'm 145.
But I
Where'd
mean,
they hide the weights in you?
again, like with the last two, I think we were talking about how, you probably get a little started by just trying to just barely tip the scale by maybe like, a tenth of a pound, a quarter of a pound. And then before you know it, you're just trying to win. So now you're shoving 3 pounds of weights in a fish to the
So
point where
there's
the first couple times around, they probably went in the fish and went, okay, yeah, that's fair. That looks about that size, maybe. And then by the time you get caught, it's like, because apparently they caught the dude just because he brought up the bass, and they're like, that doesn't look right. And sure
Well,
enough,
yeah.
they cut it open and go, oh, look what we found.
That 6-pound fish weighs 9 pounds. This is weird.
Mm-hmm.
So it's relevant. The last two classes I had to do for my degree, one was my internship, quote unquote. It was. I'm not going to go into that. The other one, it was a financial crimes class, and basically they went over things like Bernie Madoff and pyramid schemes and stuff like that. And what they started out with was the people who commit fraud, they do it because, well, maybe if I just get a little, I'll get away with it. And they do. They get away with just a little. They get away with just a little, and then they're like, oh, well, maybe I can get away with just a little more. They start to get greedy, and then next thing you know, you're seeing them on the news for having embezzled $600,000, and you're like, how did this happen over 10 years?
2.5
It started
pounds of lead inside of a bass.
Yeah. Yeah, it starts with adding that tenth of an ounce just to tip the scales, and you get greedy, and suddenly you just want to win. Like
First,
you want it
you
all.
start with shoving 5 pounds of weight up a bass's ass, and then the entire stock market crashes on a weekend.
Mm.
It was more
Anyway.
analogous than relevant to the financial market, Vince, but yeah, I like where you went with that. Anyhow.
Anyway, no, I just wanted to bring that up because I saw that here a couple days ago, and I had the same thought Dave had. Like, man, this dude didn't learn by example. Guess
Nope.
not.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, there's
javelin.
always going to be people trying to get that edge, trying to
Push the limit.
push the limit, trying to cheat, trying to bend the rules, as it were.
Going back a little bit, Javelin said they can't fence off fish either, generally, which I mean he's right. Fish will migrate, miles and miles through a lake in no time at all. Versus in a lot of places, deer, mule deer, elk, it takes quite a bit to make them move off of a certain area or abandon a certain area. And if you have a spot where they congregate, yada yada yada, I mean it's a lot harder to pin down fish than it is to pin down ungulates, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
What drives migration? What drives an elk migration? The fact that the herd lives up in the mountains, and then winter comes, the snow dumps all the snow on their food. They can't eat anymore, so they descend out of the mountains. They go down to lower elevations where there is food. I mean, we haven't exactly. We can study these animals. We can study ungulates because they are above ground. They are not underwater. To study fish like that, to study where they go for feeding and where their food's going and stuff like that, we'd have to dump a lot more money into it than I think we maybe do.
Well, even in something like Lake Texoma, you're talking about 139 square miles of surface area, and we still don't know everything about the lake. I mean, we know what was there before, but we don't know everything about the lake. Even Lake Texoma has its own, I don't even want to call them urban legends, but it's just things you've heard, like the Corps of Engineers inspecting the dam and reporting really terrifying things below the water, like divers reporting, car-sized catfish just sitting down there languishing, pulling nutrients out of the water. It's kind of terrifying.
I've heard similar stories. Actually, Dooley told we were in the Discord channel. We were talking about some scuba diving stuff, and he was mentioning that he mentioned that he was scuba certified, and some of us were like, "You live in South Dakota? How?" Apparently, there's a really big lake near him, and he himself has been startled by massive fish for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
why are you that big? Why are you such a large fish? Go away.
Well, at some point they have no natural predators, and they can just kind of let nutrients kind of just flow into their mouth.
Well, that's kind of what's happening with humanity.
I don't like it.
You don't like that it's happening, or you don't like the joke?
¿Por qué no nos dos?
Yes.
Bien. That's cool, though.
Well, I'm
dude.
glad you had a good time. Glad you caught lots of fish. There's nothing
Oh, yeah.
worse than paying for a guided trip and turning up empty-handed.
Yeah.
It was. I felt like it was a good trip. After everyone caught a pretty good fish, I was pretty happy.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's-
I know you see things where like someone goes out there and a group of 5 people catch like a whole bunch of really big fish. Like that's cool. But man, I forget sometimes how nice it is to just sit on the water. I didn't have anything to think about besides, you know, the depth of the water, where my bait's sitting at, the wind direction, and sitting there waiting for something to, you know, tap that bait. That was it. That was all I was worried about. And at that point, guys, I gotta say that was fantastic.
That's so awesome.
Like,
It's well deserved too.
Yeah.
of all the things to think about, that was enough. That was cool. That was good.
Yep.
Like that. Anyway,
yeah, that's
moving
like
on.
when we go down Texas for the crane. It's like, you know, as long as everybody gets like 2 of them, if you don't limit out, as long as everybody gets something, at least then it's kind of a victory. And then from there it just gets better. So same thing with the fish. As long as somebody catches something.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of in an amusement park. You know, as long as you got a little bit of it, it's good.
Yeah.
Is
And the more you get,
someone else is doing all the thinking. You know, you're paying for their to
If you're
use
just
their
hoping-
boat. Boats are expensive, guys.
Yeah.
So are all those damn decoys they put out. We started
Mhm.
doing the math on how many I don't remember what it was. Crap. But we started doing the math on how many dive bomb, like the 2D decoys we put out. It was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you consider that a dozen duck decoys on the cheap end cost you $60, and those are floaters, just go from there. And
Those
when
aren't
you
sinkers?
consider, well, if they're one of them is actually.
They're diver duck decoys.
It's
Hey,
just
it
their
worked.
little legs sticking up.
Now the decoys are expensive as fuck, man. Like
Oh,
my
yeah.
sister, she just gave me a whole bunch of just shell goose decoys. They're for putting in cornfields. They're not for putting in the water. They came from her ex-husband, and she was like, they were so expensive, but I just don't want to like throw them out. I'd rather give them to someone who's going to use them. And I was like, well, I probably won't use them, but I got a better shot than you do. So yeah, I'll take them.
Okay, so here's I just looked it up. So the crane decoys down there, not to get too down on this, but yeah, 650 for 5 dozen of them, which fit in a bag, and we were putting out like 10 bags.
Jesus Christ.
And are these the dry
Ridiculous.
decoys that my sister gave me that just
No, these
like,
are crane
they
decoys.
stack
They're
and-
2D.
Right.
They're
Oh,
2-dimensional.
2D.
So you know, like
Gotcha.
the sign material on like a realtor's sign, it's that kind
Yeah.
of corrugated plastic. They're made out of that stuff,
Okay.
and they've got little legs you stick in the ground. But yeah, they were when we started doing the math on the geese, especially too. It's like, oh man. So this is why we pay for this trip instead of trying to do this on our own somewhere.
Yeah, they made a business out of this. Like they probably continued to invest in more decoys as they got more people.
Well, they're sponsored too.
Yeah.
Final Descent is sponsored by whatchamacallit. But anyway, not to get off on don't need to get on that tangent. But
I want to sign up for a snow goose canned hunt in East Colorado.
my brother was just sent me a I'm a little like, really 3 day. It was a 3-day snow goose hunt. I don't remember where it was, but it was also like a cooking class to go alongside. I'm just like, it was like $1,500. I'm like, really, dude?
That's-
Like, I'm gonna definitely pass on that one because you can get 3 guns down here for a day in Colorado for that much.
Yeah, you can, dude. No, dude, you can. What I've been looking up, it looks like $250 per gun for a half-day snow goose hunt.
Yeah, isn't snow goose like
Yeah, and you can
massively
murder them.
overpopulated? You can just
Yeah.
murder them.
Vermin
They're
of
just-
the sky.
They're destroying the Arctic, so just murder every single one of them.
Like
And then what's gonna
flying
happen
prairie
probably
dogs
is
with a cookbook.
I was
kill too many of
exactly-
them?
Yes.
We'll kill too many of
Flying
them, and then
dogs.
they'll turn it around. So
Flying what?
Prairie dogs.
Oh, well, at least they're edible flying Jesus.
Nobody
Edible
said
flying.
prairie dogs weren't edible.
it's just,
You did when
go
you
down
said
the
they
list.
had the plague.
You could.
I
They
handle
have
said
the
I
plague. You
didn't
don't
want
touch
to
it to
eat
eat it.
them. Not that
You
you
can.
couldn't. I said I didn't want to.
I mean,
are you
in a
scared,
pinch,
Arthur?
they would
Your
work.
coyote. In a pinch, I would eat a cactus.
Dude, honestly, in a pinch, they eat each other. I don't know that I actually would want to eat a groundhog. They would work, yes, but ugh. I'd rather eat a coyote.
It's like their own version of turducken.
They just put more
Dogception.
themselves.
A prairie dog inside a groundhog inside a coyote.
Inside a mountain lion, inside a black bear, and so we can keep on going and going.
It's a koi hog. Yeah, I can't. I have to write it down. Figure it
Yep.
out later.
Yeah, you figured it out.
The
Speaking of-
Flidsmuffer.
It's
Speaking,
easy to say if you're hammered.
speaking of the bears, I don't want to talk too much about Yellowstone because I think we're going to dive deep on that one here in a couple weeks. But you want to know how many grizzly bears I saw in Yellowstone? Have I told you
4.
how many we saw?
4.
7.
75.
Oh,
I
7.
know it's at least 4.
Suck on
So
that
it's
treadmill.
4. All right, so do you? Yeah, suck on that treadmill. I am the new grizzly man. I will briefly touch on two things here. One, people are incredibly stupid.
Correct.
I mean,
Wait, did you see the stupid?
oh, did I see the stupid? Oh yes, I saw. I mean, not as didn't see the stupid in the sense of the 83-year-old woman who was gored by a bison the day after we left. No, it was the day we did leave. There's some 83-year-old woman. Maybe she wasn't gored, but one did take a run at her and popped her about a foot in the air. Apparently, it wasn't a big throw, but when you're 83 years old, that's not good for you.
Yeah, it's 2
Um,
broken hips. She's got 6 months to live.
Grandkids are like, yes. So we leave not bright and early and go out and look at what.
It's just like Grandpa turns 85 and you buy him some tickets to Yellowstone.
Hey, Grandpa, bring us back, and we really want a picture with you with a buffalo. Can you do that for us? Okay.
Take a selfie.
What's a selfie, Grandy?
It's where you hold your phone up like this and then the buffalo kills you.
Okay, be honest. It's a Polaroid, not a phone.
All right.
Send it with Polaroid camera. Perfect.
So we got going early out of the campground.
Shake it
and
off. Shake it
before-
off.
All the traffic gets on the main roads, and there's like
Look
for
how
this-
good
when
it
they come-
is.
Oh my god!
Ah, Mike, you ruined it.
I ruined everything.
The short version of this is because I don't need to go into great detail on it. The short version is we come up to the spot and you can see him down maybe 100 yards off the road, picking through some burned out trees next to a stream. I'm like, holy crap! There's a sow and 3 cubs. Like, holy crap! Those are real live grizzly bears. I woke my daughter up because she fell asleep in the bag and said, "Unbuckle yourself and get up here," because all the traffic is just crawling forward. So she saw them a little bit, and then they disappear because the embankment next to the road gets steep and they're too close. And there must have been a dozen people running around with like DSLR cameras with big ass whatever
Telephoto lenses.
photo lenses. There we go. I was going backwards. I was about to say photo-tele. I was like, that's definitely not the right word.
Telemundo lenses.
Exactly.
Teletubby lenses.
These people, those are the real animals in that park. Let me tell you what.
Yep.
They're running around. We got one lady, like, there comes a point where this lady's like yelling, "They're gonna cross! They're gonna cross!" And then they're
Jurassic
trying to, like,
Park, but it's all Teletubbies.
yeah.
Oh no.
But they're like trying to direct traffic, and they're telling me, "You need to stop." And I'm like, "I don't see you. I'm keeping on driving." And they're waving other trucks forward. I'm pretty sure half of them were just like hoping they were going to cross the roads. They're trying to stop traffic, and the other half are trying to get the garbage truck coming towards us out of their shot. I got one gal coming up on the left saying, "I'm going to use your truck." And I can only assume she means if the bear at this point, who's like 40 yards off the side of the road in clear view now. I can only assume she meant that in case the bear charges, in which case I'm locking the doors, rolling the window up, and just watching what happens.
Like, you're gonna use my truck for triage? Is that what you're doing?
I think she's going to take cover behind it. But I mean, lady, if that bear charges, I'm going to keep driving. So you're on your own.
Sorry,
I'm
I
gonna
just
get
have
some
an
great
IFAC.
footage if that bear comes after you. I'm just saying.
Look, this is why you don't piss off the bears. Films graphic footage.
Well, every single freaking sign in there is like, stay 100 yards away from bears. But okay, fine, they're off the side of the road. But it's just like, if that sow
Oh, it's 100 yards
decides
now.
that you people, well, that's, yeah. Well, it's 100 yards for carnivores and then 25 yards from the buffalo. Anyway, if that sow decides that, oh, I'll go into this. I was reading a book.
These 700 people are a threat to my 3 children.
Basically. And so I was
Yeah.
reading, one of the books I've been reading while I go do outdoor stuff is Theodore Roosevelt's, it's like On Grizzly Hunting and Other Sketches. I was actually reading through that later that day, reading through the segment on grizzly bears and watching those photographers, and then that bear down there. I got recall from one of the little stories, which is he had a buddy who, man, today all men today are wimps compared to back then.
Yeah.
He's
true.
like, "Oh yeah, my friend Dr. So-and-so, back when he was a young man," the world is also set up just to screw us, because Dr. So-and-so, when he was a young man, decided, got a wild hair up his butt one day, just to go, "I'm going to go whaling." So he joined a whaling crew, and he's sailing up by Alaska. Anyway, they're out on shore just kind of picking around, looking for things to eat. And according to the story, this boar grizzly comes running out of the trees and fixated on this one Frenchman out in the water and just chased that dude neck deep in the water, disemboweled him, and that was the end of that. Like, it just had it in for the Frenchman. And I'm just looking at these photographers going, man, that bear's going to get it in for one of you. When
That's
Mhm.
life.
Like,
It
that
is.
grizzly in the story, I guess, ran past 2 other guys because it just didn't like that guy out there in the water.
Everybody's got it in.
It's because he was French.
Probably. Anyway,
Snailed it.
Oh man,
so we made it past the grizzly bears, and that was all fun.
Guys.
And then directly behind me, they coerced the truck behind me to pull and block both lanes of traffic. I was like, oh my gosh.
you guys! I just got an email.
Okay.
I did not draw my elk tag.
Boo.
At the Wichita Mountains.
Welcome to our club. There are 3 of us now.
Mm-hmm.
Damn
None
it!
of us have drawn shit.
So, but for the other 3 grizzly bears, do you want to know my fail-proof, will 100% work way to see grizzly bears if you visit Yellowstone, or should we save it for another episode?
Ooh,
Save it for another
cliffhanger.
episode.
Okay.
Dun,
It
dun,
will
dun.
100% not fail. I guarantee it. If you try to use this method and it fails, you can email me and I will send you money.
Money back guarantee.
So I'll leave off on that.
Can't beat
And then
that.
and then in the saga of the stupid jerry cans that I bought, they must not be galvanized steel because they started to rust. Where I put some dings in them and they got left out in the rain. So do not buy.
Immediately started to
jerry
rust in
cans.
Yellowstone. It's not even the South where it's 1,000,000%
Wait, hold on.
humidity.
Which jerry cans? Specify again. Say it out loud.
Vevor, Vevor is the brand.
Say it with your chest.
Little less.
I'm sorry.
No, thank you. So anyway, that's what I wanted to touch on real quick because I've been holding that grizzly bear story for a while because it's like these people are gonna get that sow decides she just has it in for y'all. I'm rolling the window up and I'm staying right here.
So what you just described is exactly why everybody who picks man in the man versus bear thing is wrong. Those bears were just sitting there doing bear things, and
They're just
700 people created chaos
It wasn't
for no
700.
fucking reason.
It was like 24.
700 people created chaos for no fucking reason. Just
Listen,
drive
Mike,
past the bears,
Mike.
take your pictures, and move on. Why are you
Mike.
blocking traffic and like out of your car?
If I was out in the woods just wandering around doing my thing, and a bunch of people drove by and started freaking out and taking pictures, I might have a bad day too.
I agree. I agree. Like, if they just kept driving by and took pictures as they drove by, my day might not be so bad.
Yeah, but if they get out and they start messing with you and what you're trying to do, like, "Ah,
Well, even people getting out is fine as long as you're like maintaining a respectable distance. But now these people are yelling and mogging and just like it's just ridiculous.
It's a mob mentality. People are being mobs. They can't think
There's a
for themselves.
weird-
And
That's not just mob mentality. I think there's a weird thing with places like Yellowstone. And I suspect it has to do a lot with I'm not even going to blame like it's them city folks. I think it has a lot to do probably with just people who aren't used to going outdoors and don't realize that hey, that thing's actually not a pet. It will like even an elk, like that thing will fuck you up if you piss it off.
well,
And I
it's
think
like,
that goes for the same for the buffalo. It's people who don't
It's
spend a lot of time outdoors, and so they go to some place like Yellowstone, where I mean, it is like Jurassic Park. It's a giant, pardon me, it's a giant loop you can drive around if you want to and get out and see stuff. I think that a lot of people like subconsciously look at that and go, "Oh, it's part of the experience. It's like an attraction." Like, oh,
It's
well,
also-
it's fair.
it's even weirder. It's like on a spectrum between that and people like if you could go to the moon and get out and drive around it and see an alien,
Yeah,
and like they didn't know it actually existed until they finally saw it, and and they lose all control.
yeah, could be.
it's
Something
kind of like
that.
Fry going to the moon and driving around on it for the first time. Like, they built that fake moon world, but he's like, I'm so distracted by the real moon. Anyway, you said you didn't want to blame city people, but it
Well, I just
absolutely is
didn't want
city
it-
people, because there's absolutely zero rural people that have no respect for animals like that.
Oh
All
no,
rural
no,
people-
no.
False.
There are so many people. I'm like, yeah, no. There are lots of people in rural areas who have no respect for animals and who haven't been around a wild animal except for a rabbit in their entire lives. Now,
Okay,
the
I
reason
don't know.
said,
There's
hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
The only reason I said I didn't want to blame city people is because that's such a freaking stereotype that I didn't want to completely discredit the argument I was trying to make by immediately going to a stereotype. That's
Well,
the
it's
reason
even-
why.
is even more nuanced than that. I met people who think like the suburbs are rural living, and then like
Tell
yeah.
me about it.
out where I live, like okay, last month, like 150 yards behind my house, my neighbor, who is an experienced outdoorsman, saw a mountain lion. A mountain lion that the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife says shouldn't be there.
I'm glad the government
that-
says it's not there.
Yeah,
That's the best
fantastic.
kind.
And that the neighbors further behind us say like, "Oh yeah, we see those all the time. Have you seen the bears?"
Yep.
And we're like, "Oh, okay."
Cool.
You're not allowed to bait bears down there, are you?
On private land, you are not on public.
I mean, you could
Okay,
always
Mike.
get shot.
I will explain the difference of wildlife in Yellowstone to you from city people versus rural people. So city people will try to get close and take pictures and all this happy shit. Rural people will try to write it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, rural people are the ones who do. You get vague videos of people trying to chase the buffalo around. Yeah, those are the rednecks. We're
Get
probably
the rope.
That's
Go
fair.
get a white bag
Which
Maybe it's been caked sometime in its life.
It's a rodeo. And what I will not get over, I didn't see it much of it this year. What I will not get over is the sheer amount of people you see in Yellowstone wearing merch from the TV show. It's
Oh, I can see
ridiculous.
that.
I didn't see as much of it in West Yellowstone when we popped out to town real quick just to take a break, but 2 years ago, every single one of those dang little tourist shops was like half full of Yellowstone branded TV show merch. I was like, wait a minute, really? This is stupid.
I think those people can eat their heart out. Like the people that buy Walmart end cap shit kickers and some Indiana Jones looking cowboy hat. Eat your heart out, man. I mean, if it makes you feel better and you're having a great fucking time, by all means, get after it. I don't care. It makes me entertained. Just
I don't.
looking
Well,
at
I
you.
don't care. It's not like it outraged me. It just does.
No,
it
no,
makes
no.
me shake my head. Like you came to the Yellowstone Park, but you're buying Yellowstone tea. You could have bought that on Amazon for a lot cheaper, dude. Of course, you can do it with anything, but the Slurp Lord will take your money.
Kevin Costner appreciates your business.
Apparently,
I don't know. None of it really makes sense. Like
2 years.
realizing that Japanese like cowboy culture is that they eat horses kind of
oh, I'd eat a horse.
exemplifies like
I'm
the
I'm
entire
with.
consumer culture.
We've got a listener.
Horse
Which is going
sashimi
to
is
eat
actually
it.
pretty good.
I'm not saying it's not, but it's just weird like that's part of the that's acceptable. In
In,
that
uh,
A horse is a
portrayal.
horse, of course.
We have a buddy, Mac out in Nevada, McLean Stevenson. I can't remember. I can't pronounce his last name or his first name hardly, but they've got all those wild horses out there. And
Oh,
he's so
Macklin.
angry. They
Oh, whiskey.
We go home.
we go home. Good party. Anyway, they got wild horses out there, and he's so angry that they can't call them. And I'm like, yeah, I agree, dude. If they had a season for culling wild horses in Nevada, I would be out there so damn fast.
Can
Why
you
they
imagine
not cull
Fox
them? Are they
Pro?
protected?
They're federally
Fox-
protected.
Fox Pro coming out with a horse call?
I'm for it.
Hey, do you hear that one? You hear him? He's all the nay over there.
I've heard horse is pretty good, honestly.
Oh, it's excellent. As for everyone I've ever heard eat horse has said that it was really good. Apparently in Iceland, they make boutique hot dogs out of horse.
I'm pretty sure my uncle, who deals in like race horses and stuff, for a time was buying like bottom barrel race horses from auction houses that sold them to dog food companies and bringing them home and having them slaughtered, and it was cheaper than beef.
Oh, you can get a horse down here at the auction for $125.
Yeah.
You're
And
giving
so-
me really bad ideas right now.
Me
Just
too.
saying.
I'm just saying.
Like what? $125 for a 1,200
No,
pound? Fuck
The
yeah!
problem is, it's an old ass horse. It's going to be stringy as all hell, but
You'd
Makes
think
it
that, but
harder to
apparently
grind.
not.
it depends how
Grinder,
much you
pork
put right
fat,
around.
jerky.
Oh, I have a
It all
sausage
came
cup.
to a head when so one of my uncles sold a horse to the other uncle, and then the other uncle ate it, and he was really mad about it.
Where's a horse? You know that burger that we just had?
Was he unaware of this uncle's horse eating tendencies?
Apparently,
Because it seems like something if you do ahead of time, you'd be like, wait a minute. You're not going to eat
Now,
this.
now,
one,
now, Bill, I am gonna eat this horse. You're sure you're okay selling it to me? What do you mean you're gonna eat my horse?
yeah, it was a thing. Anyway,
Oh, man.
I mean,
I have to stop and scroll down real quick. Dave, where's the damn titles? We have to put for the subtitle. Vince, do you mind if we say the subtitle, The Horse Eating Uncles?
I like it.
Oh,
uncle singular.
sorry. Oh, sorry.
Oh my
That
goodness,
just got-
what do
that
we even
got to me big
have?
time.
Swallow Falls.
Swallow Falls, the horse eating uncle.
Ugh. Oh,
it's
wait,
not
all
that
right.
time yet.
No. It's guided.
It doesn't matter. We got it.
It doesn't matter.
It-
It's guided. It's guided fishing trip and the horse eating uncle. All right. I have completed that task. Now we may move on.
Anywho.
So,
Sorry,
Dave,
Clint.
real quick.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
hold it. Mike, do you want to save your trash can car stuff for hanging around? We just hit an hour and 4 minutes. I want to touch. I think we should touch on the draw stuff real quick.
Yeah, I'll go
But it might
last.
only take a couple. It might only take a couple of minutes to touch on the draw.
Mine's
stuff.
only going
Dave,
to take a couple minutes anyway, so.
Oh, horse shit. Yours is 15 minimum.
Well,
No pun
bitch,
intended.
we got
actually.
27. I hate you.
Well,
All
I
right,
don't
Go
care.
ahead.
Davo.
Okay.
Fair.
So, yeah, ended up not drawing a fucking thing. My daughter didn't draw anything either. So, that said, secondary draws coming up. It opens June 20th here in Colorado. And
That's fine.
youth gets 100% preference on secondary draw. So, like, my daughter should get a tag regardless. Like, they will fill every youth tag before they fill any of the adult tags. So,
Interesting.
Which-
and that
I
would,
agree
that
with
can
that.
close out an entire unit. They don't care. Youth has 100% preference. So,
So what you're saying is I need to pose as 14-year-old.
Or just hunt as a
don't
party.
do that because then Dateline's going to knock at your door.
Why don't you have a seat?
Oh no, Chris Hansen. Chris
No.
Hansen.
I after so last weekend I had to cut down a bunch of trees at my house, and after loading said trees, they're decent sized trees, you know. After loading those trees, I realized that I was probably blessed that I didn't get my elk tag, because I would have died on the mountain if I did get an elk, because my cardio is so shit. I was so gassed. Well, granted, it was 95 degrees. It was fucking 70% humidity, which doesn't sound like much to most, but we're in high desert, so I'm not used to the humidity.
No,
So
that would
it
kill
was-
you.
It was fucking gnarly, and I'm like, oh my god, am I this fat?
And you
So,
may
no.
not have the temperatures or the humidity up on a mountain, but you are going to be dealing with thinner air.
Yeah,
I'll
Even
say
from
there,
spring-
there
even
is
from-
days
Go.
when I have begged for like 95 degrees at 70% humidity.
mhm.
But if you're not ready for it, man, that sucks.
like we're
Never.
not used to humidity here.
It
At all.
smells so good. It smelled so good for the last 3 days.
It smelled so just musty.
Wet. It smells
Yeah,
Smells
wet.
like
like
mold.
not a good rain smell.
Stop
It's
you
just
weed.
like, yeah, it's like
No,
oh, gross.
it's just humid. It smells humid. I love the smell of humidity. Probably
hate
because I grew up in such a dry area.
Like, yeah, air conditioner, love that.
Now, I will admit, when I was deployed to UAE, and it was 100% humidity in July, at midnight,
And 120
I'd wake up-
degrees.
yeah, yes, it was. I'd wake up at midnight, and it's still 100 degrees outside at midnight. Open up the door to the tent, which was air conditioned to 72. It's now 100 and 100% humidity, and I'm like, literally choking on it.
Why can't we invade someplace with a temperate climate, like Germany again?
This is what
I
I'm
like
saying,
this
dude.
desert stuff all the time.
Like, why is Iran like? Seriously, why can't Spain just be like, you know what? Fuck those Americans.
Oh no, you don't want Spain. In August, it's hotter than shit and humid.
Oh, okay.
I've
Okay.
been there
Spain,
in
you're fine.
August.
Guys,
It
it's
sucks.
June. Okay, the invasion of Normandy was the high tide of the American Empire.
I hate to.
I don't
agree with you.
disagree with
saying.
that. Wait a minute. Nah, I'm going to disagree with that only because. Nah, maybe you're right. All right, never mind.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not
after
wrong.
that, we started giving our empire away. Like, here you go, Philippines. You can be you again. That's fine.
Like, I'd shoot Germans in hedgerows. That sounds fun. In the middle of June.
Um,
That's nice.
It's a nice
I'm
French
glad you
stroll.
kept talking because you said I shoot Germans in head, and then Hedgerows.
Hedgerows.
I heard hedgerows.
Mike.
Anyway,
I heard
So,
head.
I,
I shoot Germans in
Secondary
head.
Secondary
I-
draw.
I'd shoot German to head road. I don't care no much about it.
Big a bit secondary draw. Dave.
Oh, dang, oh,
I,
man, I'll shoot the German up there in the head.
So-
Daggum, daggum. Need to be unfat. Daggum. Daggum.
How are you gonna do that?
Daggum.
You gonna run?
Plan on doing sit-ups and lifting more heavy things.
Yep.
So,
I gotta get. I
Neither
gotta
of
start.
which are going to help your cardio.
well, as soon as I shed some of this shit, I bet I'll be able to run like just fine. I run now,
Well-
but for purpose, not for fun.
I don't know.
Like,
I'm not
oh shit,
the epitome
that's a
of
big
health,
leak.
but
I need to get over there and stop that. That's why I run.
I gotta start getting in better shape too, because September's gonna get here fast, and then
Yeah.
secondary draw. I'm putting in for another bear tag. I saw there's plenty of tags available in that same end of space. I may switch it up a little bit. I actually better start getting on that research part
Wait.
of that. But
Where the fuck did you see the leftover list? The secondary draw list.
I saw the event. Okay, I didn't. I saw the draw results from
Oh, okay,
primary
okay.
draw, which showed a whole heap of tags left over from that draw. That didn't
okay,
get.
that makes
Yeah,
way
that's
more
what I-
sense.
I have it
Okay.
in at CPW.
I need to start
Uh,
making decisions because my bear tag is now included with my lifetime license starting July 1st.
Ooh.
And I might need to go after a bear.
I was looking at pictures of guys pulling bears out of like spring season in Idaho. I'm just like, I may need to do that next year because I want a freaking bear so bad.
hmm
I want the bear fat and the bear hide. I want it.
I want the bear meat too. I want all of it. Just
Yeah,
cook it
except-
out in 60.
The fat is special because deer, you cannot pull fat out of a deer. It's terrible.
Well, it's tallow. It's not even fat.
Yeah, it's just
freaking
tallow.
candle wax, basically.
Yeah.
It tastes like
Speaking-
acorns. And
Speaking of fat and stuff, I actually got a sausage stuffer today. So I'm going to borrow my dad's meat grinder tomorrow.
what's his name?
I haven't named it yet. I should give it a name, though. That seems appropriate.
Steven with a PH.
No. Even. No, because I need to check with the meat locker here in town, see if they've got any pork fat, but track down some pork fat. I'm just going to be lazy lazy and play it safe for the first batch of beaver sausage. I just got some pre-mixed like beer brought sausage seasoning stuff along with the stuffer, just to be on the safe side, because I think that's probably a good middle of the road. Not going to potentially fuck that up, and go turn out some beaver sausages.
What are you doing for casing?
I have hog gut.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just curious.
I'm
You go with
excited.
salt and sage, and you can't really go wrong.
Probably not. It's more of a. I'm probably gonna have about 10 pounds. I'd say the package will cover 10 pounds. It's like reduce variables down for the first batch, and then next fall get a couple more of them to then start experimenting with.
Salt, garlic, and sage with spice to taste, and you'll be fine.
I'm probably also going to soak the meat overnight in buttermilk just to draw out some of that gaminess that was driving us bonkers the first couple of times. 'Cause I'm kind of wimpy about that. I'm wimpy about the gamey thing, which, funnily enough, my wife isn't on the roadkill, but she can't stand the beaver. But I can't stand the roadkill, like the haunches off that deer. So it's all kinds of messed up. But
God, I wish you could take a roadkill. home
oh,
here.
speaking of roadkill, I was so disappointed driving north through Wyoming because there was a probably about a yearling moose. I can't judge sizes. It was also a flash roadkill on the side of the road, but it'd been there for a day. Like, oh man, if somebody had hit that in front of us, I'd be like, hey, Grace, that's my daughter's name. Guess what? We're taking a little bit of a break here, and we're gonna get us some moose meat.
hmm
Sam would have made use of that ABS system
Yeah, you would.
Oh yeah.
on that truck. Just slam on them brakes. See, that's the thing. when I think about Alaska, that's what I think about, because in Alaska it's illegal to wanton waste includes roadkill.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're late for work and the reason is you hit a moose and you had to clean it to take home the meat, that is a legitimate reason not to show up to work.
Interesting.
Because
you
it's
can donate the
illegal.
meat.
You can donate it, but
yes.
you can't leave it.
Oh, holy
It's
cow!
still your problem.
It's only been legal, I guess, to take home roadkill in Wyoming since 2021.
I don't know why it's
Oh,
not
wow.
legal to take home roadkill in some places, because you just killed an animal. You're going to let it
I
sit there and rot,
suspect-
or you could feed people with it.
I
Mike,
suspect it's probably some like FUD lore left over from like, oh, we don't want them hitting animals on purpose.
Yeah.
mean-
it's not FUD lore around here.
No.
Okay,
Ranch
We'll do
hand
it on
bumpers
purpose.
exist for a reason.
I was about to bring up ranch hand bumpers and deer hunting with Chevys.
Okay, fair.
Like a
does
Dodge
happen.
2500 will fold a deer under it like it was a piece of paper, and then it's just, oh hey, look what I found. So
I'm not saying
But at
this
the
from
same time, you
experience, but
folded
can't
up a
hit it
deer-
too hard. You try
You
not
can't.
to run it over. Try to
Yeah,
make
just
it
try and
bounce
clip it.
off of you.
That's what I was about to say, is like
Oh,
you can destroy the thing if you just fold it underneath the truck.
Well,
Yeah.
if you fold it under fast enough, you don't grind it up with the drive line. So
You don't get it
it's
wrapped
still good.
around the drive shaft.
Just fold
You
it
don't
under
get
there
U-joint
until they-
sausage.
Like, why does it no go no more? I don't know. I don't understand.
But no,
So-
man,
It's that
if
odd
somebody
smell.
had hit that damn moose in front of me, oh yeah, we would have been like, we're only eating moose steaks for the next 3 days, and I'm totally happy about that.
So my
Oh,
dad
I've
bought a
heard
car in
moose is so good.
1995, and I bought it from him, and this is relevant. I bought it from him in 2008. I don't remember when this happened. Doesn't really matter, but he was
And then you
cruising
lifted
down
it
the
and
highway
threw
at
all
about...
terrain tires on it.
No, that was someone
He's
was
not that
car.
cool.
No, it was someone else.
It
we
wasn't
knew that did
Japanese
exactly
enough for
that
him
to
to
an
do
Audi. And he about going 65, 70 or whatever the speed limit was, and on a 2-lane road crested a hill, and as he crested the hill, there was a dead deer just right here. So if he'd been going a little slower, he would have crested the hill and smashed head on into the deer. But because he crested the way he did, the car actually got a little bit of air. The tires went over the deer, and he just kind of aired over the deer and moved on. Picked a bit of skin and fur out of the catalytic converters, but that was about it.
Wow.
Speaking of hitting things, I upgraded the old cracker last weekend. And for those
yes.
of you that don't know what the cracker is, that is my 1998 Oldsmobile 88. And it now dons a pristine 52-inch LED light bar
Jesus.
right in front of the windshield wipers.
You can
Fresh
see
from
to
Harbor
fucking
Freight.
Trinidad with that thing.
I can see my future with that thing.
And maybe his future looks bright.
I about hit a cow the other night, so it was. I was like, "Hey," because my brother-in-law is selling his pickup, and he had this light bar on his pickup, big old curved light bar, you know. He's like,
Same
"Fucking
brother-in-law
have
that
it."
sold you this car.
No, different one.
Dave's gonna be making out with Marty McFly's mom.
Dave's gonna have this
Yeah.
cobbled together car from parts from his brother-in-law's vehicles. It starts
Don't
with the olds. It's got the light bar. It's gonna get a lift kit. It's gonna get the tires.
It's already got the tires. I don't need a lift kit. Like, there's some bitch. I drive it. It's a daily, so
If the
I try to
horn
get as
Does
good a fuel
not play
mileage as I
Dixie.
can.
You're doing it wrong.
It doesn't play Dixie. It
No,
it
come
doesn't
on.
because it's an Olds. If it was a Pontiac, oh, it'd play Dixie. But it's
Why
an
would it
Olds.
be? Why would it need to play Dixie if it was a Pontiac? Pontiac's the same
Because-
thing.
Oldsmobile is old ladies driving to church back in like the early 2000s.
And again, we know what Pontiac is, so
Pontiac.
why?
Yeah, Pontiac is kind of the same thing, but slightly more sporty. So no, I'm gonna keep the off-road old lady vibe
Okay,
going.
fine. It plays when you were young.
You lost the off-road old lady vibe when you put the giant tires and the light bar on the
It
hood.
still looks like an old lady car. I took my CB antenna off. Well, I didn't take it off. It blew off. But it was
So
one of
the
the
wind
magnet
took it
mount,
off.
magnet mount 4-foot tall CB antennas because
Good,
I
but
have a CB for it as well, and I was
No
trying to
chickens
figure out
do.
where I want my CB antenna, and then I was headed to work one day, and then all of a sudden I see it bouncing behind me. I'm like, well, I am late to work, so it's just gonna stay there, and I haven't seen it since. But
Somebody else is like, "Hey, look what I found."
yeah, part of a CB antenna.
Oh, speaking of being late for work,
It's only been run over 3 times.
you know what sucks? Tire plugs. Tire plugs suck.
Like
Dave lives his
DIY
life
tire
on tire
plugs?
Oh yes.
Or okay, yeah, because I haven't paid for a tire repair in, I don't know, 9-10 years.
To be fair, they repair your tires for free in the city as well.
Well, fuck your city.
I got to work this morning, and I'm driving my commuter, and I get there, and my truck is like, the back right is almost flat. It's got 4 pounds in it.
Oh goddamn, that is flat.
That's
Yeah.
super flat.
It's like, oh, look at that. And
It's
I
very
go to
warm.
start messing with it, and it's taking forever. And I get it, rasped out, and I'm pumping a little bit of air into it. And I go to try and shove the plug in there, and like the hole in the tire, it's big. I mean, it's a big hole in that tire, but it's not big enough to get that plug in there. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I cannot get that plug in this tire. And I sat there for about 20 minutes trying to just jam this plug in there like nothing else. And that's when I remembered, like, oh yeah, these tire plugs are fibrous and have like an entire structure running through them that you can peel pieces of it off.
Mhm.
And then after messing with it for like 25 minutes, I finally remembered that this thing is a little black, nasty Twizzler. And then I peeled it in half and plugged the tire. And just like, bloop, there we go. That was perfect. I was like, I was so mad. 'Cause
So I have input.
and every single time I plug a tire, I remember this. Like 20 minutes into the process, trying to jam the freaking plug into the hole in the tire.
Eventually, you'll remember it immediately.
Eventually, but it is not this day.
So after hundreds, literal hundreds of rope plugs that I've put in my own tires, I have found that you need to ream it out more than you think. Like, go to town, get on it. Also, some tires, the tires on my wife's car and the tires on my pickup are the exact same tire. But I will catch a cord with her tires every single fucking time that I go to put the plug in. So, the little slot that's in the plug applicator, it will split
yeah.
a cord and it will hang up on the fucking cord in the little tool. And so then I have to pull it out and I turn it a little bit and then it goes right on by.
No, it had a nice little hole in it. I had no tire issues the day before, and then I got there and my work vehicle was almost flat. And I'm like, well, great. This is gonna suck.
Yep.
And yeah,
Do you-
I hate plugging tires. I really do.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing either. But
I like
if I
snorting
kind of-
glue.
You can tell I'm a city guy in this respect.
I like sniffing the glue. All right,
I
so
let them do
before
it.
we start,
So I got a few things to run over real quick.
Any deer in there?
Unfortunately, no. We were gonna go. I detailed the Prado on Saturday.
Oh, if you ran over a deer with your Prado, you'd say,
No.
unfortunately, no. I would say,
No, if I
Like that
ran
Japanese
over a
soul.
deer, dude, What if she stopped asking me to put her card in after I killed a deer?
It's because
What if
she
I set her
possessed the
free
soul
that
of the
way?
deer.
Oh God, poor woman.
It's
Just
like
can't find peace.
it's like how I want to put decals on the side of my truck for all the birds, deer, and dogs I've hit, but Mike has to insert them into the slot.
Mike will run over the deer. She'll come over the radio. Okay, damn.
It's just like the ghost catchers from Ghostbusters, except
Hajime
I
Mashite.
suck souls into a little card and I feed them to the Japanese lady. So anyway, we were going to go down to. I detailed it, cleaned it all up, made it pretty because we were going to take it down to Royal Gorge yesterday for my birthday, but because we went to Pee-Pee's Water Park, wife and I were just unbelievably wiped. We both slept half the day yesterday, so we obviously did not do that.
Wait, hold on. Whose water park?
Pee-Pee's Water Park.
What were you wiping?
I didn't.
All right,
We were-
moving on.
So instead, I got the Molly racks that I got for Christmas. Those have been installed for a while, but I finally got some. Yes, properly.
Correctly? Yeah.
I found the extra hardware properly installed now. Got my trauma kit and jumper cables box mounted to those. I ordered some just Velcro strappies. You run them through the Molly webbing and then around the box, and lo and behold, it's attached. I also, last year, I got a 1500 watt inverter when I figured out that a 300 watt, a 1000 watt hot plate does not work in a 300 watt inverter. So I had to get a bigger one. So I bought one of those, mounted it. It had mounting plates that were perfectly lined up to the Molly plate. So I was able to actually screw that in. So next step for that is going to be running the probably 4-gauge wire from. I'm going to have to run it inside the passenger compartment, under the seats, under the carpet, all the way to the back of the thing, and then up into the inverter. And the ground, I'll just find it ground that's literally anywhere.
It's like wiring subs, but for adults.
Exactly.
Oh man.
It is exactly the same as wiring the sub.
Yeah.
Without the stupid little blue wire that you need to make it work.
Sensing wire.
Apparently, my draw results are coming through right now, and I did not draw a spring turkey either.
Oh.
Well, you're just par for the
Hey.
fucking course, aren't you? I still need to get a locking long gun mount. That's on the list. I don't want to get just like rubber ones. It's got to have a lock.
Okay, so I have a question about that.
Mhm.
Are you wanting like a quick access mount, or is a key fine for you?
A key is fine for me. I've found a
Okay.
couple different. Quick access is extremely expensive.
I know. I've been looking for quick access.
Yeah. The key will work, especially if I'm going to be leaving my duck gun in there over the season. The key's fine. I don't really know that I'm going to be leaving an AR in the truck. There's no real reason to. I don't have coyotes to shoot at.
You do. You're just not brave enough to shoot them on powers.
I have yet to see one on powers.
Oh,
I've
well,
seen more deer in the city than I have coyotes.
I'm not
Same
saying that those aren't out the option.
That's fair.
Anyway,
So, yeah, need to finish that stuff up. And since none of us drew shit, I'm going to just focus on duck hunting this year. And
Oh, you
along those lines, we
can- put in for
it's
black
fine.
bear tag with me, and you'll get it guaranteed.
I could. I also the archery elk tag. I need to work on crossbow.
You're definitely
stuff.
putting on that one. I'm not letting you
Oh
off.
yeah,
the hook on
absolutely.
that.
No. I'm. Going,
I don't care if
like,
you don't
I
have a crossbow. You're still coming with me.
Part of why I asked Dave how he's going to be less fat is because a lot of the exercises I've been doing have been geared mostly towards improving my my back mobility and improving my ability to go up there and possibly shoot and drag down elk with you guys. And
Okay. So real quick, my main focus in working out is going to be stairs for
Okay.
cardio.
that's actually
Yep.
that's a great idea. Okay. So what I've been doing is basically walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes. And it used to be I would go 3/4 of a mile. I'm up to a mile now in that 20 minutes. And it's also usually on a max incline of 12 degrees. I haven't gone past that yet, but it's hard
I
to
would say at that
it's hard to
point,
stay on it.
I mean, get yourself on there and then start adding weight. Because the big thing is for, I mean, the big thing, I say this like I've done it hundreds of times. I think the big thing is going to be it's carrying weight in potentially, and then definitely carrying 50 pounds of damn elk meat out. Now, if you and I are together, you're gonna sit there with a knife and be Dr. Cuts Up, and I'm gonna be doing the hauling back and forth. But
The to be fair, it's not the only exercise that I've been doing. I've been doing a ton of other leg stuff, including leg presses for both reasons, to be fair. They're like every leg exercise I do is geared towards both making me feel better and towards this hunt.
Why
And
don't we ask the cardio
reason-
guy for cardio advice
the
as soon as you're
reason I bring
finished?
it-
But
the reason I bring it up, I didn't bring it up for cardio. I brought it up for just for physical fitness. The only reason I brought it up is because last year at Pee-Pee's Water Park, if you've ever been there, there's tons, like there's literally miles of concrete pathways with inclines of over 12 degrees. And it's very difficult to walk around in that place if you're less than mobile. So I struggled really, really hard. I was almost in tears at the end of the day last year when we went. This year, absolutely no problems. Like, I had a little bit of pain, but it wasn't like last year, man. The exercises I've been doing have been working, like, and having that metric to see this has been working, it's really got my hopes up for the future, for these hunts, for lots of stuff, but mostly for the hunts.
well, good. Good.
So, Dave, find him. You've got your metric. Start doing the stuff, and then come back to it in a year and see what it's like.
Just
yeah.
run in little circles. Wave your arms about. It'll be fine.
Just
I'm
like Kermit the
really
Frog.
good at standing. Like I have got standing down, man. I get paid to stand.
You would have been really good in the military if that's what you were good at. If you're good at standing, stand here. Okay.
Yeah. No. Sometimes I turn a little flag paddle, says stop and slow, alternating sides. But
All right.
most people don't listen to that anyway.
So what?
I'll be taking Ella to 11 Mile probably this weekend to go camping. I checked the weather and everything. There's a spot right next to the lake. I think we're going to do that.
Nice.
Hopefully there will be ducks there.
All right.
Can't shoot
So
'em.
wrapping this stuff up because we're an hour and a half. We have a review that I'm supposed to read, but should I really read it, or do we not care about the opinions of people who whine too much?
Oh God! Our one
Did
listener,
you just-
or our,
did you
our
just-
one?
Did
I
you just
told you.
attack our single viewer?
I told you that was going to happen.
You're such a
Because he left us a damn review right when my son was born, and yeah, it slipped between the rugs. Then he's trying to be like, "You didn't read my review." It's like, yeah, I'm not.
Oh
Good.
no!
That's
Well, I
because we're
suppose-
swamped with reviews.
But I said, yeah, well, I ain't got time to check every single damn place. to fill that out.
Swamped.
Anyway, yeah, swamped. It's from Dusky, aka Javelin Fangs. That's not literally 7 months ago, sir. It's April 8th, 2024. He's in the live chat. Tried to say it 7 months ago. It's April
That
8th,
wasn't
3
7
days
months
after
ago?
my son was born, sir.
That feels like 7 months
That's why I
ago.
missed it.
This last month has been a year. So what are you talking about?
Mhm.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
He says, "What's going on, LGH? Long time no talk. That's my bad. I got behind on things and life got the better of me. Huh, funny how that happens. It looks like y'all have been busy and I'm glad to see it. Can't wait to get all squared up on what you've done. I've had some interesting encounters since our last correspondence. What is this, fucking 1840? Maybe I can compose one or two of them into a legible transcription to share with you."
My dearest Let's Go Hunt fellows.
This is written by AI, legible transcription. Anyhow, on to episode 67. And why does it say April 8th if this is episode 67? Was that April 8th? Wow. Ugh.
What episode are we
care.
on now?
AKA Dusko. So, Dusko, if you send me, you should actually change your name to Dusko. I like that better than Dusky.
You should do it.
Email me your address so I can send you a bag of flaming dog shit and a sticker. I have to actually deliver it by hand. Vince, you
Life has many doors, Dusko.
Vince, you work for the post office. How much money would it take to bribe a postal worker to set the box on fire?
I know somebody who lives in Dusky's area. I could probably get them to set him up with
I
a
like
flaming
bribing the
pile of
postal
dog shit on
workers
his
better.
doorstep.
Hey, bro, you want to go postal?
I'm trying to think of what to file the letter.
It's the new going postal, leaving bags of flaming dog shit on people's doors.
I'm trying to think of what to file that under. Like specific instructions. I'm not sure.
Specific instructions next to the flower pot in fuego.
All right.
Well,
That about covers us. If you leave us a review, send me an email of where you leave it so I can go ahead and find it and read it, and I will mail you a brand new, shiny, nice vinyl Let's Go Hunt sticker. And I may not send you a bag of flaming dog shit, but no
you
promise.
probably will. I
At
guarantee
least you
you
didn't
will.
call the shit poop.
It's poop again.
Well, I'll send you a bag of flaming dog pee.
Me, Mike, and Frank.
Don't put it out with
Set
your
on
boots,
fire.
Ed. Don't tell me
Don't
my
tell me
business,
my
devil woman.
business, devil woman.
Don't put it out with your
Oh,
boots.
I see.
All right,
You're gonna get all over your boots.
Mike, you're in charge. End
on
this
the,
before we lose ourselves.
On the note of shit boots, support the sport and take a buddy hunting. Get some trauma training. Search for Let's Go Hunt on YouTube and Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt podcast. Links available at firearmsradio.net. If you enjoyed the show, tell your friends and family about us. Check the show notes for Initiative 91 info, the ban on kitty cat hunting in Colorado. That's important because eventually they'll ban all hunting, probably. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
So, what was the title again? Swallow Falls or PP for School Board?
Oh,
I like Swallow Falls.
Swallow Falls guided fishing
think
trip
so.
to the horse eating.
There
uncle.
was something else, but I think we quit recording them.
I think once
I
I really stopped counting after I came up with guided with the horse eating uncle.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm no longer paying attention to titles because I have everything I need.
Yeah,
We
I
gotta
was
have
pretty sure we
Dusky on
nailed it
sometime.
Oh, bye, Deathkey. It better be shiny. The sticker? I don't know. Kind of.